Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, James.
And good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you are all having a wonderful weekend or a wonderful week whenever it is that you are listening and enjoying some lovely sunshine.
Me too.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to have some sunshine. So I hope you are all enjoying that. Okay.
Ready?
Are you happy to begin, Anne?
Yes, I am happy to begin.
Fantastic. Where would you like to start this morning?
I'd like to start really from people who this week have been talking to myself, not necessarily me talking to them, although it is a two-way thing. I realise that.
Okay.
But some are experts in their own fields.
Yes.
And I think that at this moment, people like teachers, medical professions, are only just starting to wake up to see what's happening
Okay.
to each individual at the moment.
Right.
And my daughter and my granddaughter are both teaching assistants.
Right. Okay.
And my granddaughter was telling me about a child last week who can't write, a
Right.
6-year-old who can't write.
Okay.
It's not legible.
Yes.
And just before this is why I'm saying it, is because of the short span, to be honest, is just before the Easter holidays, the child could write and it was legible.
Yes.
Then he had 2 weeks off, and when he came back to school, his writing wasn't legible again.
Okay.
So she asked, had he been practicing? And he said, we don't have any pencils in the house. Which to me is, when you've got children, is one of the first thing you buy them is colouring pencils when they're little, because that's how you teach them.
Yes, colouring in,
Yeah.
drawing pictures.
Yes. Magic.
Yes.
For on your fridge, and you've got them all over your fridge and your walls.
Yeah.
So yes. So I said to her, well, is that unusual? And she said, no, not at all. It's not unusual.
Right, okay.
So she said to this little boy, write it again. She wrote something on the whiteboard. He copied it. 3 times it wasn't legible.
Okay.
On the board. So in the end, she said to him, it's getting better. You are getting much better now. But I still can't read it. And he said to her, why can't you read it? You wrote it.
Right, okay.
So the mind of a child, she's telling him he can't.
So he doesn't lack quickness of thought.
No.
And a wit and sense of humour.
Exactly. So he has got that. But also,
so he's obviously bright.
He's bright, but also in his mind.
Yes.
She's asking him to write, but he's thinking, well, she knows what I'm writing.
Yes.
He may not even be understanding what legible is.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
So that was the first thing that happened. And then I had a gentleman came to see me for a treatment.
Yes.
Who's a businessman, and a highly qualified businessman.
Right, okay.
Who's retired.
Yes.
He's been retired probably about maybe about 6 months. And he was telling me he'd had to go to the bank to sign some papers. And he went to the bank and he couldn't sign his name. And he was shocked.
Right.
He said, I can't. He said, I've been to... And he came to me afterwards. He said, I couldn't sign my name, man. But what my daughter had said about this little boy was he'd lost the muscle power between brain and hand.
The hand-eye coordination.
The hand-eye coordination.
Yes.
And this man had done the same. And he said it really worried him.
I would imagine everybody listening can relate. Most people will remember having the summer holidays.
Yes.
And when you return back to school from the summer holidays, having to pick up your pencil, pen again and remind yourself how to write, and it being awkward, odd,
yes,
difficult.
And what you're saying is remind yourself.
Yes, yes.
So it is this brain hand.
Yes, it is. It is.
So if we sit in a chair for a week, we can't get up, we can't move. And it's that quick.
It is very quick.
And that's what's scary, isn't it? So the 3 instances I'm talking about is The other instance is a lady who does ophthalmics, and she goes into special schools and she treats a lot of children with special needs, and she can look in a child's eyes and know if they've got a brain tumour.
Right, okay.
Very, very highly qualified.
Yes.
And she was saying that children can't what do you call it, span. They can't span a page. They can't go from edge to edge with their eyes.
Scan.
You can't scan this page.
Right.
Because nobody's reading to them. She can tell a child, as soon as a small child comes in, she knows whether somebody's been reading to them or not. Because when you've got the book,
Yes.
you've normally got your finger going across it, and they follow your finger.
Wow. And aren't they some of the most precious memories?
For me,
Both
always.
as a parent, but also for the child.
Yes.
For all of us who can remember being read to.
Yes.
Often, most likely before bedtime, after bath time.
Yeah. Bath time first.
Absolutely. And hopefully you all had a parent or a grandparent or somebody who's reading to you that would put the voices on.
Yes.
And be the characters of the story. And you would know whether they did the voice right or not. Or if they skipped a page,
Yes, you always knew that.
how the story would go. And no, that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
And I can remember being read to by my mother and father and my grandparents. And it being really precious and it being a sacred time.
And it
So,
is, yes.
so reading to
every time.
children, both for parents and grandparents, anybody really, siblings, it really is precious. It really is a precious moment in time, a shared experience. And I hope all of the parents and grandparents listening are still reading to your children, because you can't get it back.
No.
Those times are so precious. And you are right, it helps to expand the imagination of the child. It helps to incorporate vocabulary and expanding the vocabulary, comprehension, storytelling.
Imagination.
Absolutely. And also what you're talking about, the physical mechanics
Yes.
of how the brain and the eyes and the hands and comprehension all instantaneously are being worked. So the connections within the brain and the entire body and the nervous system, they are being honed, they are being sharpened by reading, also by talking and by thinking and by moving, by everything involved in life. But particularly in story time, it is a time for imagination.
Yes.
And it's so precious. It is so, so precious.
As you're talking now, you're moving your hands.
I
They
always-
can't see you, but you're moving a lot.
I always move my hands unconsciously.
Yes.
I don't actively, consciously make a decision to do it. But
No.
when I talk, I can't be still.
Yes.
I really can't. I'm always moving, and particularly my hands. I'm very theatrical with my hands. I suppose I don't know, and the more passionate I get, the more I move.
It's true.
I really feel it, and my body
Yeah.
demonstrates it as well. And I know other people do that as well, and that happens sometimes when people sing or whatever, in terms of feel that their body is a medium and a mode of expressing themselves as well.
Well,
we're all connected, aren't we?
We are, yeah,
Our
'cause-
words, our bodies, our minds are all connected.
So that singer, the music, we will dance listening to it.
Yes.
So it's a connection, isn't it? So what we're losing is not only the eye-hand coordination,
Yes.
we're losing connection as well. Because when you're swaying with somebody else, you're on the same wavelength as them.
Absolutely,
Even with the
yes.
dance and some music can make you sad, some music can make you happy.
And again, it's so precious, so important. Dancing as well. You made me think about dancing when you talked about swaying and being
Yes.
in sync, in connection with each other. And I feel it's so important for people to dance together as well, and to put it alongside storytelling and reading to children, dancing with your children.
Yes.
And the fun and the joy of everybody coming together and really just cutting loose and dancing.
Yeah.
And I think that teaches so much about rhythm, about body, about being able to loosen and lose your inhibitions and express yourself and laugh and smile and enjoy enjoy the body, enjoy music, and enjoy each other. I think it's such an important part of life.
We had a music quiz here, didn't we?
We did. Yes, we did a
last week, I think.
community
One, yes.
quiz. Yes,
And we had children here as well.
we did. Yes.
And one of the children, Darcy, got quite upset because it wasn't her music. And when are you going to play my music, didn't she?
Although there were a few questions that she did well.
Yeah.
I did put Livingston in for her.
Yeah.
But you're right, there weren't that many questions
And
for
she
Darcy.
did know Taylor
I'm sorry,
Swift.
Darcy. She did know. She's a huge Swiftie,
Yes,
is Darcy.
she is.
Yeah, she is.
But then listening to people just naturally start singing.
Yes.
It wasn't planned, was it?
No.
The quiz, obviously, the questions were. But when they're trying to guess what it is, it made me realise that to get the words and to get to sing with them, to understand it, you have to start singing the song. It
Yes.
doesn't come immediately, the name. It might be a couple of sentences in.
I think it's quite moving in life when people spontaneously start singing together. It can happen in lots of situations, often in public spaces, maybe in pubs or at gigs or in parks, but sometimes it happens at tube stations or bus stations or just groups of people coming together, groups of friends or even strangers. That's when it's really magical. And all of a sudden people start singing, or one person's humming along, or somebody's trying to catch some words to a song, and then somebody else puts it in, and then before you know it, it erupts.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I remember predominantly during my teenage years and early 20s a little bit, often walking between wherever it is that we were going in gangs of lads and girls, and we would be on our way to somewhere, probably up to no good as well as everything else. But we would be often walking and talking and enjoying each other's company and pulling each other's leg. But a large part of it, we would sing songs, and there might be 10, 15, 20 of us, a real gang of teenagers.
Football ones.
Not all football ones, some football ones. But we would be singing songs together, and we would really enjoy it. And often we would be singing them at the top of our voice. And I look back at those times really fondly and with a warmth inside. It reminds me of good times, and it reminds me of feeling a part of something and feeling alive. And it was a very exciting time. And I think we lose that in life.
Spontaneity.
Yes.
Is that what we've lost, do you think? Spontaneity.
Yes, I think that's a definite thread of what we're talking about. Is natural, well, could spontaneity be unnatural? I was going to say natural spontaneity, but I suppose that's an oxymoron. Spontaneity is natural. It is what is truly organic in the moment. Yes, I think so. Life has become very prescribed, very measured, very sanitised, very thought out. And in some cases, for the better, but in lots of instances, it's starving the life out
even
of
applying
people.
for a job, isn't it? Even applying for a job, you can't be spontaneous. You have to so many buzzwords.
Yes, you have to.
Applying for a job.
Yes.
Or filling a form in.
Yes. You're selling yourself, really, aren't you?
Yes. I can remember when I used to do interviews with people for jobs.
Yes.
And I would know, I don't agree with all this business of filling all these forms in and, doing on a computer.
Yes.
But when I used to do interviews for people to in the work and in teaching, when I was teaching, I could tell if whether a person was walking past the window, whether that person would be suitable for a job.
Yes.
Because that person, to me, the most important thing is they have to fit in with a team.
Yes.
And that's now, how can you judge that if you just get a form on a computer from somebody, not even knowing whether they filled it in?
No.
Because it doesn't mean because somebody's sent in an application form, it doesn't mean they filled it in, does it?
No.
And
which is why face-to-face interviews are so important, aren't they?
They are, yeah, very much so.
Because being in each other's presence is how we can feel each other and really get a sense of a person as best we can. And that's very important.
I think it's important. I do think it's very important. And I think it's important that we try to get back to that with children, because children are not allowed to be spontaneous now either. Even in school, they're not really spontaneous. They've all got to get to a stage. Darcy was saying to me this morning, I was walking with Darcy this morning at FunFit. She's 9.
Yes.
And she just said to me, I'm stressed.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and a 9-year-old said, what are you stressed about? So she said, my maths. So I said, can't you do maths? So she said, not very well. But for me, at that age, you shouldn't have to worry about things like that. Why are we in an age where a 9-year-old is worried about an exam?
It could be said, why at any age is anybody worried about an exam?
Well, I would say that at any age.
It makes more sense maybe as the stakes get a little bit higher. But it could be said, why do we learn to worry about any exam?
I think because we're not taught properly.
Maybe, yes.
I used to say to my students, you know, I would have students sitting exams and they used to be panicking. And I used to say to them, why are you panicking how much you're going to get? What percentage you're getting? Because if in this first exam you get 95 or 100%, you've set that for the rest of the year, the next 2 years.
Yes.
And you're going to worry yourself. You do the best you can in every exam, just do the best you can. Don't worry about percentages.
Yes.
Because the only way you fail any exam, anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, you only fail an exam if you don't take it. If you refuse to take it, you've failed. Other than that, you can't fail because you've tried.
That's interesting.
And that doesn't create worry, does it then?
No.
Because if you're learning a lesson where it's a practical, I mean, the lesson that what they were learning was both physical and practical, because it was biology. It could be biology, and working on with reflexology. So they had to think about all of that, what they were working on. But as long as they could touch somebody, feel what they were feeling and help them.
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's what matters, not what the percentage they get at the end. It's
True.
the empathy, isn't it? So again, now we're losing empathy.
Well, yes. To be honest with you, yes. We're moving around quite quickly here.
Yes.
But before we move on to empathy, I do feel it isn't always the exam that we are invested in. It's what the exam opens up to.
Right.
So whether it's a driving test or maybe it's a particular exam to get to the next stage of your training or education, and passing the exam or passing the exam at a certain level opens a door to get through to the next stage. Or in the case of a driving test, it's pass or fail.
Yes.
And if you pass your driving test, you might be able to apply for jobs in certain areas, and it opens up more opportunities, and your life becomes much more open because you've freed yourself and given yourself a greater level of independence, as an example.
Yes.
So often I feel it's not what the exam is in and of itself, it's what it can open itself up to that people become invested in and why it's important. But you are right, as a philosophy, I feel 100%, that being too invested in the specifics, we lose track of. If we derive our value from the numbers in an exam, sorry, I can't get my words out. If we derive our value from the numbers of an exam, either a letter or a percentage, we can value or devalue ourselves based on how we do. We are who we are, and the value of who we are is who we are.
Yes.
Not the outcome of an exam. So I think that's where it's gone awry and why
I agree.
things are getting mixed up in certain areas. You feel that people are generally losing empathy?
I do, yes.
Yes, you brought that up
I did
a minute
bring
or
that
two
up 5
ago.
minutes ago, yes. And I think empathy is more important. I think what's happening and I'm not saying that I'm right in this, is how I feel, is a lot of people are turning to sympathy and giving sympathy. Oh dear, oh poor you.
Yes.
And I don't think children are taught the difference of what empathy is and what sympathy is. So if we sympathise with somebody, it takes them down. Sympathy will always take people down. It will never bring them up.
Okay.
Empathy will bring them up. So if you say to me, I've got something, such and such a thing wrong with me, I don't know what to do, and I say to you, oh poor you, that's awful. You're immediately poor you. But if I say to you, I know somebody that's got that condition and they took such and such a thing.
Yes.
And it really helped them.
Yes.
Do you think it'd be worth you trying it?
Yes.
So we've moved a level.
Yes. I understand what
Yes.
you're saying. And I'm sure everybody listening understands what you're saying.
And I think that's what we have to try and get back to, because it's either sympathy, we need the empathy with people, but that's not only in sickness, that's in everyday life. We need to learn to empathise with people.
Yes.
Not, oh, you poor thing. There is a solution, maybe a solution can help you. As it was when Amy was here a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And she was talking about debt.
Yes.
And she did say, she offered to help, didn't she?
She
And
did.
say that
Yes,
she
she
would
did.
come in again and talk
Yes.
about debt in other ways, like gambling and things like that.
Yes.
So I think that in schools we should be teaching children how to deal with situations, even in primary school.
Responsibility is such a large part of being competent and successful in life. And if we look at the word itself, responsibility, the ability to respond.
Yes.
Responsibility. And really that's life. We have plans, we have ideas, and then life happens.
Yes.
So each day we have curveballs thrown at us, but sometimes dramatically, sometimes not so. But nothing ever goes absolutely to plan.
No.
There are always people and occurrences and happenings that we can't account for, and often we haven't even thought about. And things create what we call problems. Mm. And how we respond to life and our responsibility, our ability to respond,
Yes.
is so important. And we either respond from a place of fear, a place of lack, a place of weakness, a place of moving backwards or standing still, or we are on the front foot and we have a proactive, a response that is moving forwards, that is feeling hopeful, that provides a motivation. I don't see any value in being unrealistic. Things are what they are, and sometimes things in life are not okay, and sometimes people don't feel okay, and calling it something else often can be patronising or just flat-faced lying. Mm. But where we are isn't necessarily where we are heading, and that's a distinction as well. We can be where we are today, but we can talk about where we would like to be tomorrow.
Yes.
And we certainly can turn towards that, and that automatically lifts you up. It provides something of value. It is also worth reminding everybody, myself included, you, Anne, and everybody listening, as far as I'm concerned, no matter who you are, and no matter your life situation, and no matter how low you've got, no matter what people have called you, or how many mistakes you've made, you have value within you. And
100%.
And your self-worth, your value is intrinsic to you. So do not devalue yourself. It is not so much what you did yesterday. It is about who you are today.
Yes.
And who you are becoming tomorrow. So we can look at people as a summation of who they are based on what they've done, or who they are based on what they're capable of becoming. And if we can see the potential in each other, and if we can speak to the best of each other, and if we can draw that potential out of each other, we can inspire each other, and we can bring forth out of each other that value into the world, and everybody's a part of that, because every single person, every single child in this world has something truly valuable to give, something truly magical to share to the world, and the world would not be the same without them. The world would not be the same without you listening. You bring something to this earth that nobody else can bring. Even if you can't see it, even if nobody's ever seen it, it's in you. It's in you in a unique way. Only you are you. And you are unique and magnificent, although our lives don't always feel like that. And often they don't. But that truth is immovable as far as I'm concerned.
And they are magic, aren't they? Children are magic.
Yes.
You listen to them and you just look at them and you think, where is, they say something and you think, where has that come from? Just little gems of knowledge that they give you.
Yeah. It can stop you dead, can't it?
It does stop you dead.
It
does,
really can.
Yes, and we were training for the 5K today in Funfit, and we had the youngest one was at the front with me, walking with me, and she's talking, and then I said to her, I hadn't got a cat in hell's chance of it happening, to be honest, and I said to her, I'll race you to that corner over there. And yet she's off as quick as anything. And obviously I can't race a child. I've got no chance. But the joy when she wins.
Yes.
It's that joy that I would love people to get, to be able to go out and just laugh and just run and not even thinking who's on the road, who's watching you or anything. But we're self-conscious, aren't we?
Painfully so, most people.
Yes. I think that's
myself included at times as well. So
Yeah,
hyper aware of what other people may be thinking, how we appear, and not willing to feel or look foolish. And there's such liberation in being foolish and embracing it.
Yes.
Because it's great fun. And to bring it back round to where we started, Anne,
Right.
if that's okay,
Yeah, that's
because
fine.
we're finishing up in a moment.
Yes.
I do feel it's worth reminding everybody what we talked about at the start.
Yes.
That reading to children, dancing with children is so important.
Absolutely.
Talking to children and having good quality conversations as well. I don't mean it has to be frivolous and fun. It can be sincere and serious at times as well, because
teach you a lot.
Absolutely. Children have got such insight and such impact and such depth to their awareness, because they haven't got the inhibitions to often regulate what they think and say, and that can be so refreshing and liberating. So there's so much there's an enormous amount that we can learn from our children. I mean, our shared children, all children really, that's what I mean. And they really are a gift to the world, and they are humanity's future. So even if it's in a memory, if we can think on to our time as children, or maybe if you have your own children or grandchildren, or your nieces and nephews, or your neighbours' children, or like myself, in terms of remembering some of the best times from your childhood, even if it's just one memory and it brings a smile to your face, let's bring that spirit back. Let's bring that youthfulness back, and that exuberance and excitement.
I would say
and
joy.
That eagerness for life, and enthusiasm for life, to live and to laugh and to love and to be alive.
The joy when you see a newborn baby, when you see that child and you see it start to move, it's joy.
Yes.
Its first little laugh, or its first walking or crawling, it gives so many people joy.
Yes.
And that's what we have to start remembering, is small steps.
Yes.
One step at a time.
Yes.
Pick up the book, pick up the brick.
Is there anything more magical than new life? Is there anything more divine
No.
than a little baby child?
Or a puppy.
Or a puppy, yes, or a puppy. Yeah. So we are looking for meaning in our lives. And although we can't explain it always, well, we truly can't explain it at any time comprehensively, but often people feel lost and afraid, understandably so.
Yes.
But there is such beauty and magic, and there is life, and as far as I'm concerned, life is worth living, and it's worth protecting.
Yes.
And the children of our earth are worth living for, they're worth fighting for, and they're worth making this world what it truly can be for them. It really is worth it. And I know everyone listening will agree. And we can work together to do that. And like you said, small steps.
Yeah.
From mighty oaks grow from small acorns. From small acorns do mighty oaks grow. We'll get there in the end.
Good.
Okay, well.
Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. We'll have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And we look forward to